Congressman, what do you make of all of these developments regarding the Don Jr. emails and Russia?
Yeah, I mean, I think the media has been conflating two issues that are kind of separate. One is Russia and other countries have been involved in each other's elections forever, right? I mean, so that's true. That's ongoing. Obama knew about that a full year ago. And then the second is more the political side, right? The left wasn't happy after President Trump won, so they've been saying, we're going to impeach you from day one. And so every day. And then we have to respond in real time to breaking news when I don't know the facts. None of those sets of facts have really stuck, right? And so now today there's another set of facts coming out, supposedly, and then so it's just, it wears you out.
But shouldn't the focus be on what folks agree on, which is how to prevent Russia from meddling in cybersecurity?
There you go.
So
you're being rational.
How do you as a lawmaker shift that focus to make sure Russia doesn't do this in 2018?
Right. Well, I taught ethics for 18 years, so what you just said is super. We need a standard, an ethical standard that both parties have to live by. Right, and so now the big word is, that the collusion, right? Well, collusion isn't a statute, but maybe it's unethical. So let's put that in the ethics training, right, for both sides, so we have a clear standard that we can all follow instead of getting, theatrical. We got my own U.S. senators this week are just lighting up the boards with all sorts of colorful language.
But with the sanctions bill regarding Russia, I mean, when is that going to be addressed in the House?
I don't know. I heard it hit a snag. I don't even know what the snag is. I'm more on the econ budget side of the world. But, yeah.
But what is the concern, I guess?
Yeah.
But so when you say the two parties involved, I want to keep on this point because I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
About how do you prevent, and you said collusion. I just wanted you to explain that a little more. You're saying collusion might not be what were you just saying?
Yeah, if you listen to Alan Dershowitz, right? Liberal, proud he voted for Hillary. But also a civil libertarian and a Harvard law mind, right? He says, look, there's a lot of, maybe you've been sloppy in politics, you've crossed ethical lines, et cetera, but that's different than violating the law, something that's illegal, right? So this is a good time for us to come together on collusion. If it's not a violation of the law, well, is it a violation of ethics? Probably. I think we all agree on that, so let's go forward on that. And then when you talk about sanctions, we need to do more sanctions, not less, right? With China and Russia. We're in a double arms race right now, right? You're doing bullets arms race, nukes, and we're spending more than the next several countries. And now we got a cyber arms race coming too. So we can't afford this nonsense, right? The submarines under the ocean chasing each other because they're pinging each other and fiber optic stuff is at stake. We cannot afford another arms race, right? So we need to handle this diplomatically. Ethics is at the core. We need to say to Russia and China, knock it off. And we need to knock it off. And say, let's spend our money doing business together instead of all this wasted nonsense.
Do you do that by having a treaty? Because we've seen that in the past. There being some type of cyber treaty?
Well, you can right now. I mean, I think Trump's doing it right. You just one-on-one, bilateral negotiations instead of all this Brussels European stuff got us nowhere, right? NATO wasn't efficiently organized. Everyone was mocking President Trump a while back, right, a few months back. Now it looks like most of the Eastern European countries are saying, hey, we need to step up our game, pay our 2%. I mean, we're funding the whole world, right, since World War II.
Switching gears, of course, healthcare, another big topic on Capitol Hill this week. The Senate taking up a piece of legislation. It's very unclear if that will get out of the Senate. If it does, if it gets through reconciliation, can conservatives in the House really support this bill?
That's what we got to look at it. I heard the Cruz amendment didn't make it in its entirety, but the Cruz idea did. So you got to go back and parse that thing.
Is that good enough?
I don't know. I mean, that's what I mean. It's like one of my books, Hayek, Free Market Guide, The Fatal Conceit. I mean, the fatal conceit is the arrogance up here in the swamp to think I can understand 1/5 of the economy in 2 days, right? And if anybody thinks they can understand 1/5 of the U.S. economy, right? $4 trillion healthcare piece in 2 days. I mean, that's what's wrong. That's why healthcare's in the ditch. People honestly think they can manage 1/5 of the economy intellectually, and it's the fatal conceit.
So what I'm hearing from you is that even if this gets out of the Senate, its future is uncertain in the House.
We all want the momentum to go on, right? And so if it's got enough free market logic in it that it won't fail, right? Obamacare failed because it only paid attention to coverage, not to price. So prices are going up 25, 30%. In our original House bill and Senate bill, prices were going to keep going up 20, 25%. Yeah. So I'm just an economist. I don't care what political party's doing what. If it's going to fail, it's going to fail. So you need to design a healthcare system to get the prices back down. And the Democrats can add stuff too, right? They're concerned about pharmaceutical prices. Okay, let's work on that. Let's get prices down. But we all want to go back to the day I taught college for 20 years, where a college kid, when they're done, they go out and afford an insurance policy. They can't right now.
It sounds very much like these discussions are very fluid.
Yeah, they're fluid. You got that right.
All right, I want to talk about tax reform.
Right,
Is it
good.
fair to suggest that some of these negotiations with healthcare, back-channeled conversations, are also saying, okay, you might not get a perfect healthcare bill, but we're going to have some leverage on tax reform?
It's more of a bottleneck problem than a leverage problem. So the healthcare bill has $1 trillion in tax cuts embedded in it. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard to move forward and do tax reform when you've got $1 trillion sitting there. We've got CBO yesterday, $720 billion deficit as of yesterday. That's a bottleneck. Then you've got the border adjustable piece within the tax plan. That's probably dead. That's another $1 trillion. So we have several $1 trillion problems. And the major concern is the tax piece is the holy grail, right? That's the home run. If we fail on that one, that's not acceptable.
And those discussions are very much underway.
Yeah, and how do you get the rates down, right? How do you get the corporate rate down from 35 to 20 or 15 if you're shy $3 trillion? That's the nugget.
You guys have so much to do. I don't think you should take an August recess.
That's the Freedom Caucus position a month ago, right? We said we're not leaving Dodge until we've got these dots connected.